Are you ready? Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany, and for those of you that know me, you probably know me from my TikTok or my Instagram. Today we have Pex. PK, look.
PK.
Say hi. He's like, yeah, no. And I also have my husband here to...
Hello, I'm Chance.
Hi.
That's PK.
To answer the rest of the questions I got for the Q&A. So this is our part 2. And the questions we're going to be answering, and I wanted him here for them so that it wasn't just my point of view on everything, is the questions about our relationship and parenting. And then there are some random questions if we have time that I'll kind of throw in there too. But yeah. Okay, so we're going to start off with the relationship questions. So the first question is, did we get married because we got pregnant or were we already engaged? And we were already engaged. We had actually been planning our wedding for like almost a year before we found out. Yeah.
Before we found out we were pregnant.
Our wedding was like 3 or 4 weeks away from the date that we found out we were pregnant. So, yeah. How did we adjust our relationship with each other after we had P?
I would say he fit pretty much right in. I don't think there was a whole lot of adjusting. I think the biggest adjustment was probably with Mom's sleep schedule.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that there was much adjusting. I don't feel like anything really changed other than I was home and not working, and yeah, I got less sleep.
The other big adjustment was probably with Pax's hearing, but that adjustment was more me than her because she already had kind of a little bit, well, actually a lot of understanding in ASL. So I guess that's a big adjustment, but
that didn't come until he was like 2 months old. So it wasn't like an immediate thing that we had to adjust to. That will be more of like, we didn't have to adjust our relationship for his hearing. There was just for our relationship specifically, nothing changed. We really did plan on having a kid this young, and we kind of already made sure that we were prepared for an additional family member. So yeah. How old are we and how did we meet? I am 21 and
I just turned 23, but when we met we were how old?
I think I just turned 18.
18 and 19.
Yeah.
We found out you were pregnant when you were 20?
Yeah, I just turned 20.
Just turned 20 and I was 21.
And we met through mutual friends. Are we planning on having more kids?
Yes. I would like a football team, but I will settle for a basketball team.
And I want 3. So he wants 5. I want 3. I think that our goal is I will probably birth 3. Ow. And then after that, if he can convince me enough, we'll probably just adopt 2 more. Oh, excuse me, don't be sassy.
We'll have 5 one way or
Hands
another.
on your tummy. Hands on your tummy. All right. How many years have we been together? We will be together for 4 years in June.
Yes.
Right? June. Yeah.
Yep.
4 years in June, and we will be married for 2 years in August. So.
Yeah, but truly, I have a hard time remembering a life before I met her, so it kind of feels like it's just kind of always been like this.
That's cute. Our love story.
I think we were trying to not have a love story when we met.
Absolutely. But, I guess how it started would be my friend, I had just gotten back from Hawaii, and my friend Kenny had said, hey, you know, you haven't seen me since you've been home. Why don't you come to this park with me and a couple of my friends? Like, I'll pick you up. You don't have to drive, and I'll take you home. We don't have to be there for very long. And I was like, no, like, I don't really feel like it. I just want to stay home. You can come here. He's like, no, like, Chance, and named off a few other people are gonna be there. And I was like, I don't care about Chance. Like, I've met him a couple times.
She was super worried about whether I was gonna be there.
I was like, no, like, that doesn't make a difference. And he was like, no, I'm on the way. We're gonna go. And so we went to the park, and after it had gotten dark, Chance had invited Kenny and I over to his house, and I'm pretty sure we have seen each other every single day since.
Yes.
There was one period of time in 2019 when he had to leave the state for work for a couple days, but other than that, we have seen each other every single night since then. So I guess you could call that a love story.
It is a love story. It just wasn't meant to be in our minds before.
We definitely did not want it at all. We were both like, we were laying in bed one night, and we were talking about how
we pretty much just couldn't be together. It just wasn't gonna work out.
I'm gonna move out of state. I'm going to school. He's like, yeah, well, I gotta focus on work. Blah 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 blah.
And when it's right, it's right. I mean, we tried to fight it as much as possible, but in the end, ended up together.
Senor, I just woke up. Woke up.
You are awake.
All right. What is the secret to a long-term relationship?
Effort. Effort that just gotta be ready to put it in every day. When stuff gets hard, it's not a time to leave. Just a time to figure out how it's gonna strengthen your relationship instead of break it. I think with us, it's kind of a good in-between with both of us putting in the effort that it takes to stay neutral in hard situations, stay on each other's sides no matter what the circumstance is. Just to always remember that there's a bigger goal than an argument or a disagreement.
And I would probably say that you just have to know who you're with. I think that
Absolutely.
Chance and I have and always have from the beginning, and we had this conversation from the start about who we are and what our beliefs are in a relationship and what we want and what we expect.
Yeah, an understanding of boundaries and what your significant other needs and doesn't need, because there's a lot of things that you just have to know about your significant other to be sensitive to them in the right way.
How do we argue together?
Sarcastically.
Yeah, we're
passive aggressively, if that makes sense.
We're very blunt people.
Yeah. We keep it real. It's the easiest way to avoid problems and confrontation. When you have a problem, bring it up. And we definitely do that.
Definitely, like, we do argue every day, not necessarily
very
about
productive
serious things, but we do argue just like the next couple. It's not like
we also do like to get on each other's nerves a little bit on our days that we choose.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Okay, so do we ever get into yelling fights?
No, I wouldn't say yelling fights. Sometimes when we maybe talking or arguing and we both have something to say at the same time, we can try to talk over each other. So I would say we definitely raised our voice, but we don't ever scream at each other or get hostile, I should say. We're just trying to be heard.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is that we both are two people that just want to be heard when we speak, and when we feel like someone's not listening, that's when we get the most worked up. Yeah. So I guess the answer would be no, we don't get into yelling fights, but we do end up raising our voices eventually. How did we know when we were the one?
Pretty right away. Right away. I didn't want to believe it, but I feel like I knew she was the one. Tried fighting it for a little bit, but I couldn't shake the feeling of being long term and having this for the rest of my life.
I definitely didn't want to believe it either, because I don't know. I think I didn't want to accept it, but then a couple weeks went by and like I still wanted to see him every day, and like I still wanted to talk to him, and at the end of the night he never annoyed me. And for the first time we as a couple have a mutual agreement about which now that we're married and not just, in the talking stage or whatever, but we have a mutual agreement. Like, we have our certain friends that we were allowed to see by ourselves, and we're allowed to go and do this, that, and the other, whatever. It's how we respect each other. And for some reason, he had all of these girlfriends, and he was going and doing parties and this, that, and the other, and I was just like, okay, just let me know when you're back. Call me when you're done. And that is very unlike me. At least, definitely when I was 18 years old and freshly out of high school, very unlike me to ever just almost care so much that I just didn't want to scare him away by being jealous.
But at the same time, I feel like when it was that time, we did already have this connection and respect for each other and a sense of caring that we wouldn't risk even after such a short amount of time being together.
Maybe that's what it was, is that since we already had that,
so I remember
already trusted you.
That same night, she texted me and said that there's a key made for me. There's something, and she got everything ready. There's food when I get home, and that she'll be in bed sleeping. And I was at the party, and then I'm pretty sure I left. I was like, yep, that's probably what I want to.
Which home meant to my house.
I think that's what I want more than any of these parties.
Yeah, he did come home pretty soon. I think I was trying to be so chill and cool, and I'm like, okay, your key's under the mat. You're welcome to come back here when you're done. And he's like, I think I remember you texting me. I'm like, yeah, I'm leaving. And I was like, okay. So what is it like day to day? For me, it's stressful. I think that my hardest thing with being a stay-at-home mom is not realizing that I do a lot of it by myself, and that's more so just because he gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning and gets home at 6 p.m.
Lately, I've been getting home around 6, and it's something that she has grown accustomed to, which is kind of crappy, because it leaves me with a lot of time away from home that I don't get to see this guy and see my wife, which really sucks. But it's just one of those things that I talked about, which it pushes you to work harder, make more money for your family so they can, do what they want, have the nice things that you may not be able to give them in those 12 hours a day.
I think that a lot of a lot of what it's taken him time to understand is that I, as your wife, and I, as the mother of your child, I am so thankful for the fact that he can go to work and he has a job that pays him well enough for us to be home. We are so, what's the word?
What?
Not thankful. We're so...
Grateful.
No. I guess we're blessed in some way. Like, we are very blessed to have that so that I can be home with him, especially with everything that we've had going on with him. But what I feel like sometimes that he forgets is we want you home just as much as we could use the money, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a tough thing to juggle with being as busy as we are.
Being a man, that's like what you guys think, is you're like, oh well, you know, I am doing something for the family, but being at work, like if I'm not at work, then I can't take care of you guys. Yeah. And obviously, that's not how women's brains work. We're like, dude, get a different job and be home, but.
But I love what I do. I also love what I do, and
we love the people he works for. They are
they take care of us.
An incredible company. They treated us really well and understood that, you know, he has a child with special needs and we have appointments to go to, and sometimes he really does need to be there. So
and they're more than understanding with all that. It's just that we are blessed enough to be as busy as we are.
How can I make my relationship stronger other than communication? And I think it's to find their love language. Like, chances is, what did I say? Acts of kindness. So he loves when I wash his underwear.
It's the little things.
Do his laundry.
It's the little things.
Or
makes me a sandwich for lunch. Or just, it's the little things that you're like, oh babe, you were thinking about me today. I appreciate you. Or for her, it's words of affirmation. Just kind of like,
I just want to be
she just wants to be recognized and noticed for the little things, you know? I mean, doing the dishes, keeping the kid alive all day. I'm just playing.
No, that's true.
Cleaning,
that's
but yes, very true.
For.
Keeping
as a stay-at-home mom, that's all I do is...
And it's a job in itself, I promise you. If you don't have a kid, you will see it. And if you do have a kid, then you know. Mothers do not get nearly enough recognition for all they do. But in this case, for this question, I think that it is realizing what your partner needs to not make them feel secure, but appreciated. You know? They don't have to, you don't have to make it a big deal to make them feel a certain way. It's just kind of the little things, and
it's definitely the little things. I feel like once you get into a relationship and it's become a long-term relationship, the little things are the easiest things to forget, and those end up being the most important in your relationship. It's like, oh my gosh, you know, he didn't leave me a note and said I love you today, and say that's something that he used to do. Like, it's just the little things that you notice start to like slowly dwindle away. But
that's something you should be you should always feel open to talk to your partner about too. I mean,
okay.
It's never something you should let slide for too long. I mean, you can, because once you do that, then you're pretty much setting yourself up to be disappointed. If your partner doesn't know you want something, or you want a little bit extra, I mean, then it's hard for them to give you that in the time period allotted, I should say.
Okay, so this next portion of this Q&A is going to be about our parenting questions that we got. So yeah, we're going to start that. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, there we go. Are there any times that I feel frustrated, I struggle, or am stressed being a mother? I'm always either frustrated, struggling, or stressed as a mom. I think most of the time it's those weeks that he is so caught up in work that is the most difficult for me. And I think that's just because you really do, as a stay-at-home mom, feel like you're doing everything by yourself. Even, you know, you could ask for help from other family members, but I think in reality, as a mom and as a wife, like, all you want is for your partner to help. You don't want somebody else's help. You don't feel like it's anybody else's responsibility.
And it's easy to feel frustrated or struggle or stressed as being a mother. I mean, I'm not a mother, but I see the stresses and the just alone feeling that you get, because in a sense you really are the one who does everything with your kid. No matter how much you get help, you're still caring for this baby all day. You're the one getting no sleep. It's just really tough, and it's nothing that you should feel ashamed about, because it is a struggle and it's frustrating.
What has been, I'm going to say, our proudest moment as parents so far?
My proudest moment of parenting is Paxi always gives his mom a kiss when he wakes up. That makes me very, very happy. He always shows his mom love, which is one thing that we pretty avid about, is showing your baby how to love and care and be affectionate.
I would have to say that my proudest moment as a mom has to be birthing a whole human. That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, and like a champion.
How do we know what he wants, and does he sign back? Paxton's really expressive with his facial expressions and his voice. He doesn't speak, but like, he does use his voice. And I feel like he understands when we're signing to him.
Yeah, he does, and he's very...
he doesn't sign back yet, but I think that comes with age.
He's very observant, so normally when he's looking around and he finds what he wants, he'll get your attention and then look over at it. So he normally knows how to tell you what he wants.
And honestly, what you will learn when you have kids, if you have kids, is it's all about just process of elimination.
Yep. There's only a couple things that they truly
can't tell you what they want. At this age, they cannot tell you what they want. So it's really more about milk. No? Okay. Mom?
Water?
Dad? Do you want a snack?
Yeah.
Are you ready for bed?
You hungry?
Like, it's just, you just kind of ask a million questions until one of them just like hits the right spot, and then he's like, yes. How did we decide how we were going to raise Paxton? We had our conversation about what we were planning on doing with our kids, how we want to discipline, how we want to raise them, where we want them to go to school, everything like that, like a couple weeks into us dating.
Yeah, because we knew that if we were going to be together, it was going to be for life. To agree. And we're going to agree on our priorities, which is children, first and foremost.
I think people don't understand that when you start talking to somebody and you plan on having a relationship with somebody, that kids conversation needs to happen right from the get-go, because
it's a deal breaker.
There is deal break. There is. Like, I don't think people understand that. Like, oh, you don't think it's that big of a deal, or you think that one person's gonna, fold over and be like, okay, yeah, no, I changed my mind. But with children, that's not how it works.
And when someone wants children, then it's hard to sway that. And, the other way around, too. If someone doesn't want children, it's hard to change their opinion.
Okay, so I didn't read that whole question, but the rest of the question is, how did we decide we're going to raise Paxton after finding out about his hearing loss? And honestly, the same exact way that we would if he was hearing. The only difference I feel like for me is he is going to understand that just because he cannot hear, it doesn't mean that he has any excuse to not do anything.
Yeah.
The only thing that he's not going to be able to do is hear, and we did decide to go with cochlear implants, so even then, that's not going to be an excuse. I don't want him to ever feel like that he is getting the short end of the stick.
Or getting a special treatment for it at the same time.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like one of the biggest things with children with, I guess you'd call them special needs, but it's that there's...
And we don't like to use that term
Yeah,
for him. We don't like to use the term special needs only because, yes, he's a child that has special needs. Like, yeah, we have more appointments to go to, and yes, we have to go through surgeries and therapies and whatnot, but that doesn't change him as a person. Like,
yeah, it doesn't change his mind or his personality, or
you would have never even known that he wasn't hearing.
Yeah.
So we don't like to necessarily refer him to that, because there are children out there that are special needs, and I don't want to even step on other parents' toes saying that we have a child with special needs when, yes, we thankfully are at the lowest of the low of special needs, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
I think we decided we were going to raise him exactly the same we would if he was hearing.
Yeah.
Except for, yeah, we're going to push him just a little bit harder, because we want him to understand that a disability does not mean that you can't do everything that you want to do. And the thing that I feel like we changed for other people after finding out about its hearing loss is we made it a point to every single one of our friends and every single one of our family members that if you are going to be consistent in Paxton's life, you need to learn ASL, because we are not going to make him ever feel left out of a family function, ever feel left out of a conversation. We are not ever going to make him feel like he has to like form to what the hearing world has. And if you're going to be that consistent in his life where you're going to be having day-to-day conversations with him, you need to conform to what his language is, and that's going to be ASL. That's going to be his first language, because without his cochlear implants, he's still going to be deaf. There are going to be times where he's not going to want to wear them, and we're not going to force him to. So I don't think it was more about how we were going to raise him, but more about how other people need to understand that this is how it's going to be, and if you don't want to do that, then you're just not going to be a consistent person in our family's lives. Is it hard to raise a deaf baby? Honestly, in my opinion, it's probably easier. Genuinely, I do feel like it is. I feel like in ways where he's really upset and he's in just one of those moods, I feel like for hearing children, parents can like use their voice and like soothe them from a distance, or, you know, that I feel like that might make a difference. And for us, we actually have to physically go and touch him and like hold him and make him feel more secure with our
Yeah, I would say that's the hardest part of having a deaf baby too, is having to put
you have to
physically be touching until, you know, they fall asleep or they're comfortable enough to not need touch before they fall asleep. It's just the little things that you wouldn't really think about.
Which now, I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, what's the difference? And we don't know. We don't have a hearing baby. The only thing that we know is having a deaf baby. So yes, when we have a hearing baby, we can let you know what the difference is. But this is just what we know. So I'm sure that when we have a hearing baby, it's going to be harder for us, because we don't have to be quiet when we're in the room. We don't have to, you know, he doesn't get afraid by loud noises. The dogs don't bother him. Like, what is my favorite part about being a mom? And I'm pretty sure it just has to do with every single morning that I wake up to a smiling child. That is my favorite part, because I could have a bad night and even he could have a bad night. And yes, there are the mornings where, you know, he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, but we all do. But 9 out of 10 times, I turn on the light and I look at him and he's like, "What's up?"
Literally
so
waves,
happy to be here. He's
smiling,
got a big smile on his
clapping,
face. He's like,
it.
"Yes, we're starting the day." And I'm like, "Yes, we're starting the day."
I think my favorite part about being a dad is having more than one person to look forward to seeing you every day and relying on you. you know, in a way that isn't so much relying in a way that you feel burdened by it, but in a way that you want to be there and help. You know, it just makes you feel fulfilled and necessary.
That was a cute answer. What is something that we didn't expect after having a baby that's hard of hearing or deaf?
One of my first thoughts I remember clearly, when she called me and she told me that he was deaf, was that for some reason I just thought it was going to hurt him. I don't know how. I thought that it was going to, you know, be this thing that weighs on him. I
think that, like, initially we always think about how he's gonna miss out on these things, and, you know, people are gonna judge him for being deaf, or, you know what I mean? Like, it really is gonna hurt him. Like, that's what we feel.
Yeah, it's easy to do. I mean, kids are mean. You see kids with something on their ear like that, and you know little
even
kids that are rude.
Adults are mean. Yeah, adults have very ignorant opinions, you know.
See, but you can fight adults. You can't fight little kids.
Exactly. And like I've said before, if you guys have been on my Instagram lives or asked me this question before, I have no problem with beating up some kid's mom because they raised a disrespectful child. No problem. Because you're not going to bully my kid, but I'll bully you. But I think we learned after we kind of sat on that for a couple weeks that, oh my gosh, he is still happy. It was so hard to be upset about it because he was so happy. We were like, what are we even upset about? Like, he doesn't know what he's missing out on. There's not one thing that has changed for him because from our understanding, he was born deaf.
Yeah.
So in reality, he's happier than both of us. Like, maybe that's probably what we didn't expect as hearing people, is that this is only different for us. It's not different for him. This is his normal, and it's going to be his normal. How do we have so much patience with our kiddo? A lot of the times we don't.
When he starts yelling at me, I square up on him just like this, and he laughs. That's how I have the patience. It kind of refills my patience every time he laughs. Stops crying and laughs.
No, I don't. I mean, like, yes, I do have a lot of patience with him, but I'm also a very uptight person. So when he gets, like, what I would say out of control, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me right now, dude? Like, we are not doing this. I try to have conversations with him, and he does. I have realized, and I'm trying to be better about it, that he does listen better when I talk to him in ASL versus like trying to like have a conversation with him face to face because he can't hear me. And I think that everyone in our lives forgets sometimes that,
it's
oh my
easy
gosh,
to.
it's
very easy to
hear. But I've seen a lot of parents recently doing more of like a gentle parenting style, which isn't necessarily our parenting style, but for some, I guess, in some ways, like having a conversation with your kid and just asking them, okay, what's wrong? Why are you talking like this? Why are you crying? Why are you yelling? What do you need? That is something that I feel like we both have actually taken to a little bit more than we expected to. And it does work. It does. The moment we ask him, hey, what's wrong? He looks at us and like, oh, yeah. We're talking. The biggest challenge teaching Paxton sign, I think, has to do with consistency for ourselves.
Yeah, it's a big battle with using ASL as much as you can by yourself to get comfortable enough to use it with him.
I think our biggest thing is that we are having a hard time remembering that we're signing for him and he needs to see us signing to each other when when you think about talking to a hearing person, you don't think about using ASL because they can hear you when you talk. So.
And it's easier to not use ASL when you're talking to a hearing person. So it's really, really, really about self-accountability and being consistent and persistent and engaging in conversations with your baby.
The biggest challenge would probably be more of holding ourselves accountable for signing than it is teaching him.
Because he picks up. They're like, little kids are like sponges. They soak up everything you give them. So just give them what is most important, and then trickle down with other words you're trying to learn.
We have gotten this question. I have gotten this question a lot. It's been on my comments. It's been on my lives. And now that I have my husband here to talk about it with me, we are going to address our second pregnancy. We actually lost the baby 2 days after we announced.
And it was tough. Very, very tough. Hardest thing I think either of us have ever gone through in our lives. It's nothing that you can explain, sadly. Can't put it into words for you. But it's the worst feeling you could ever possibly have. I mean, feels like
so far that
you're stripped.
At least.
Feels like you've had everything taken from you. I mean, you feel betrayed. It's nothing easy, but it's something that we handled slowly, took time.
And that's one thing that I decided that eventually when we were both in a good enough place to talk about it, that's when we would, I guess, announce the loss, but I didn't feel like it was a subject to announce, especially because at the time, I didn't have the friends and the following that we have now. There was no one we really felt necessary to explain to, but I do understand that we have posted our entire lives on I have posted our entire lives on social media, and I get that you guys have questions, and it's been something that I don't want to have to explain by myself. I feel like it happened to the both of us, and I wanted to wait until he was also in a place where he felt comfortable to talk about it. So I wasn't, it's not only my business, it's his business too.
Yeah, so. I think we were in a comfortable place to talk about it a while ago, but now it's just it's right to do it now because these questions, they get asked on almost every video. I see everyone I look at has at least 3 or 4 questions on what happened to the baby and what happened to this, and
when are you due, how far along are you, and I feel terrible by not answering your guys' questions, but I also am someone that we're okay now.
Yeah.
I still get upset about it at times, and he does too, and that's gonna happen forever. That's not gonna go away.
That's not something that ever goes away. I mean, there's
what I don't want to hear after what I didn't want to hear after responding to say one question or one comment on a picture or video is a million people telling me how sorry they were. That's not what I wanted to hear.
That's the one thing that you don't want after something like that happens, because you already are feeling all these emotions, feeling bad enough for yourself. It's something that you just don't feel like other people are even worthy to hear about it. You feel like it puts you down,
and I
puts
think
you
we were
under.
Also already so annoyed at the fact that we had waited to announce for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And once we announced, we lost the pregnancy. It was we seriously couldn't have either lost it earlier or have, I don't know, and somehow the world could have made us wait 2 days later.
And it's okay, because it's not anything that we regret. That was one of the best times in our life. There was so much excitement with that. There was also so much letdown. But it's one of those...
We were very thankful that it happened when we had already had Pax.
Yeah, it's one of those things that grounds you. It makes you appreciate what you do have in your life. And us, feeling as broken as we were, and in such a lost spot, that every day we woke up and we went in Pax's room, we got him, and he's smiling, he's laughing, he's giving us kisses, he's just perfect. You know, he's the only way that we could have gotten through it.
Absolutely. But I hope that answers your guys' question about the second pregnancy and all of your questions about when the second baby will be born.
We'll keep you updated.
We
Second
will.
baby will be born.
Just whenever the time is right and the world allows it.
Yes.
And yeah, so we will be doing a part 3 here within the next couple weeks whenever we have the time to answer more of the postpartum and pregnancy questions, and then some random questions you guys had given us. But thank you so much for listening, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah, this is a very emotional Q&A, but we appreciate you guys and we love you, and
Yes.
I'm glad that I was able to get him to join. So
Wasn't my favorite, but
bye.